everyone, welcome back for a Cottage Cuts YouTube video tutorial, and I am so excited to bring you this bright and bold card featuring one of the new products that's available now in the Scrapping Cottage. This is the Sweet Treats Release. It is filled with yummy goodies that will make your crafty heart smile. My card today features the pedestal stand with cupcakes. Here's a look at that die set. It does come as a solid die. There are 5 cupcakes in there, as well as the pedestal stand, which I ended up not using. I did color it. I will color my images off camera, but I did die cut everything out. Here's a look at the random circle slimline die. It's an 8.5 by 3.5 inch die, and I did cut my card base to that same size. I added some foam tape around the edges. I am using from the Guillotine the Sweet Sentiment die. I think that's what it's called. I will also link that in the description box below. These are some of the distress oxides. I did end up bringing in a few more. I'm going to start with my card base. Again, that is cut to 8.5 by 3.5 inches. It is accent opaque 110-pound cardstock, and I am adding twisted citron, picked raspberry, and I'm just adding it randomly over the background because I am going to add that random circle die over the top of it. You could certainly make this into a shaker card. I chose not to for my project for today, but you certainly could add some acetate and build up the tape, the foam tape, and make it a shaker card, which would be really cute. I'm adding some ripe persimmon, some wilted violet, and then I'm going to finish off with a little bit of Mermaid Lagoon. I lost some of the twisted citron. I went over it just a little bit too much, so because these are opaque, I was able to add a little bit more of that twisted citron back over the top of some of these other colors so that it stood out just a little bit more. I'll remove the release paper from this die cut, and this is 1/8 inch foam tape from scrapbook.com, and then I'll place it over the top of my project, and I really love the bright bold colors that I chose. As I mentioned, I did color my images, the little cupcakes, off camera. I tried to get I tried to use colors that matched my background, so I went really big and bold. I'll show you a couple of the cupcakes so you can mix and match the wrappers and the cupcakes, which is what I did. I did use the packaging for a little bit of a guide, so some of the cupcakes color-wise don't match, but I did add strawberries and the cherries to the cupcakes that matched on the front of the card, and then I did mix and match my wrappers. I'll finish off with this garden cupcake. Now, it does come with some flowers for the top of it. I did color the flowers, but I didn't add a center. You could certainly use a pearl or maybe a white gel pen or another Copic color. Just leave the center space a little bit open and add a little bit of color if you wanted to add that dot to the center of the flower. I chose to go without that. I followed the packaging details. I wanted to make it that grassy green, and then I'm going to add my flowers and my leaves. Off camera, I do dry fit my images onto my card. That was when I decided not to use that pedestal that you see there, but I can use that pedestal on another project. I chose not to use the pedestal because I felt like it took up a little bit too much room and didn't really balance out with the word sweet that I wanted to use from the Guillotine, and I also really wanted that bold background to really shine through. I wanted it to be kind of like the center of attention for the card. If I thought about adding some pop dots or some foam tape to the back of my cupcakes. I think that would have been really cute as well. But in the end, I chose, because I already had the foam tape on the random circle slimline, that I would go ahead and just glue it directly to my background. For the shadow portion of my Sweet Sentiment, I did use a V4, which is one of the colors that I did use for one of the cupcake wrappers. When I finish coloring it, I do go over the edges to make sure that that white isn't showing through. As you know, I like to layer my sentiments 3 deep when I do have a die cut, so I've already glued 2 together, and this is the 3rd layer that I'm gluing on top, and then finally I will finish by gluing this to my shadow, and then we'll start putting our card together. I will have as I mentioned, all of the products linked in the description box below. I adore this collection. This die cut collection has cupcakes, it has ice cream stands or an ice cream parlor. There are ice cream cones, bubble gum machines. It is just absolutely adorable, and I think that it just really went well with the bright colors that I chose for it. Now, you certainly could go with more of a pastel palette, but we're moving into summer. Can you believe that we are already mid-May? This is crazy to me. Time just keeps flying so incredibly fast, and summer is just around the corner. I am ready for the warm weather. I live in southern Nevada, but we also have a home in South Dakota, so I'm actually going back to South Dakota to sell our house for the summer, and it's going to be a little bit chilly when I head out there. I'm actually traveling this week. It's supposed to be in the 50s. In southern Nevada, it's been in the low 90s, so it is going to be a bit of an adjustment because my mindset is summer, 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 and I am going back to spring, spring, spring. And I know many of you love the cooler weather, and 50s and rain sounds dreamy to you, but to me, I'm really a warm weather girl, so I am going to be making a bit of an adjustment this week. Anyway, here's a final look at my card. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for joining me.